right, what is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for watching. As always, today we are checking out the new Tone King Imperial tri-tube preamp. This is a high voltage all tube preamp that covers the Mark II tones. So think of 50s tweed, 60s deluxe, all the way to British crunch in a pedal board friendly format. And speaking of channels, this emulates the channels of the Tone King Imperial Mark II. So it's the same exact circuitry for the channels, same exact phase inverter, same attenuation, same reverb, and the same tremolo, and it really sounds good. I've demoed that Imperial Mark II. It sounds great. This sounds just as good in my humble opinion, but can actually do even more, especially if you're running it direct and taking advantage of the IRs that are already in it or loading your own IRs. And speaking of which, that's how I'm going to demo this pedal for you guys. That's how I recorded that performance. I ran the two XLR direct out into my interface straight to Pro Tools. As far as the IRs go, it comes loaded with 15. 3 of them can be accessed from the top of the pedal. They're all Ownhammer IRs. Ownhammer IRs just sound great. I won't be going into those specifically, like all 15 of them, but I will briefly go through the 3 that are loaded on the box via the switch. So you can choose between a 1x12, a 2x12, or a 4x12. The 1x12 is an open back 1x12 that's loaded with, I believe, the Tone King Imperial 1660, which is a 1x12 that's specifically voiced by Celestion for Tone King. The 2x12 is a Vox combo with the Alnico blues in it, so chimey, creamy sounding. Sounds great. The 4x12 cab is a 1960 basket weave with greenbacks in it. All 3 sound really great. Like I said, you can't go wrong with Ownhammer. There's a couple other ways you could run this. You could obviously run it straight to the front end of your amplifier if you choose. You can also use it to go between the channels on your amplifier as well as the channels on this, so long as that amplifier has an effects loop. That's a really great feature. If you just want to be able to expand on the amp you already have, you can do it with this. But as I mentioned, we're going to stick to running it direct so you guys can hear how great it sounds that way. What's on the top? It's a 2-channel. So you have a rhythm channel and a lead channel. On the rhythm channel, you have volume, treble, bass, and attenuation. That's that attenuator. We'll check that out. On the lead channel, which is more the, so the rhythm channel is the 60s deluxe channel. The lead channel is more the 50s tweed. On the lead channel, you have volume, tone, mid-bite, and attenuation. We'll definitely get into how all that sounds in the demo. Both channels have that aforementioned 3-way cab switch. I'll let you guys check that out in the demo. It has master reverb and master tremolo. We'll certainly check those out in the demo. You have 3 switches across the bottom. The switch on the right is your bypass switch, but you can also use it to bypass IRs. The second switch, or the one in the center, is your channel switch. That's going to allow you to toggle between the lead and the rhythm channel. If you hold it down, you can bypass the effects loop. The switch on the left turns on the reverb and the tremolo. If you hit it once, it turns on the tremolo, or I should say if you hit it quickly. If you hold it down, it'll turn on the reverb. If you hold down both the channel and tremolo switches together, you can store to MIDI or to the pedal, depending on how you're using it. This pedal does remember everything you do. You'll see that in the demo. If I turn on channel 1, and as long as it's on. When I turn on the rhythm channel, say I've got reverb and tremolo on, and then I go to the lead channel and shut all that off, as I toggle back and forth, it'll remember that. If you want it to remember that after you power down, you can store it that way via the method that I explained earlier. So that's what's on the top. What's on the back? You have a series of ins and outs. So you've got your input, send, which is your master send. If you're going to use the effects loop on this pedal, there's your master send, and then you have your left and right returns. If you're going to run this in mono, then obviously you'll return to the left side. On the bottom is 2 amp in, from amp send to amp return. Those are all for what I was mentioning before, where you can choose between these channels and the channels on the amps, so long as you have an effects loop. It's a really cool feature, but that's how that works. And then of course you have a headphone out. I did mention the balanced outs, left and right XLR. You have a ground lift, you have MIDI in, and then you have a USB out. That USB out allows you to access the Tone King software editor. It's really cool. It's laid out really nicely. Within that, you can access all of the other cabinets per channel. You can take advantage of some EQ tweaks. There's a high frequency comp. When you start using the attenuator to back the channel off, or maybe you want more gain on your lead channel, but it's getting, too hot, so you use the attenuator to back it off. You could lose a little bit of top end. The high frequency comp allows you to compensate for that and bring the top end back. We'll check that out in the demo. There's also a low pass filter that you can use per channel. That's all programmable. Like I said, you can choose up to 15 cabinets via the editor, which is really cool. You can, you can access the bypass. You can switch between channels. The reverb, the tremolo, loop bypass, and IR bypass can all be accessed via that. And of course, you're going to use that, especially if you're, using this via MIDI. That's going to come in really handy. I'm not going to go super in depth on all that stuff, but that's why that USB is there. It's 9 to 12 volt DC. Let's check this thing out. It is the Tone King Imperial Tri-Tube Preamp. All right, here we go. Let's check this thing out. All right, noodling, sloppiness, all that stuff to let you guys kind of hear some of the sounds I was using and the cabs I started out with and all that. Let's start on the clean channel, or in this case, we'll stay on it. I'm going to go ahead and shut the reverb off, and we'll just give that channel a listen. So right now, I'll keep the attenuation wide open, so we're not attenuating at all. and we'll just listen to what's going on with this volume control. Running direct, it seems to kick in sweet about right there. I can get it to break up a little bit dialed like that if I hit it with a humbucker, but this is super clean. If I start cranking it hotter, that's when we start seeing a little bit of breakup or hearing it. Now, if I want to start getting a little bit more overdrive, I can start attenuating back and then crank it a little bit hotter. Now we're getting that slight kind of breakup. Now, obviously, as I'm attenuating, we're going to lose a little bit of top end, but if I go into the software, I can add that right back with the high frequency comp. Now I've got that top end back, and it can be stored that way. And in most cases, when I was recording, I just left that set on, but that just depends on what you're doing. When I was layering tracks, I wanted it brighter, even if I wasn't attenuating that much. But I'll go ahead and shut that off, and I'll turn it back all the way up, the attenuator, or I should say off in this case, and listen to the treble circuit. It goes real dark and warm. So it's pretty sweet. It depends on where you have it dialed, or I should say what cabinet you're using. I like it about right there on average. Bass control off. Bass control gets massive. It doesn't really matter what cab you're on. Like right now I'm on that 1660 cab, which is that Sally voiced Tone King cab. About right there is nice. As you turn up the volume, you'll get more lows too, so you can adjust accordingly. That attenuation feels really great, and having the ability to kind of compensate for some tops that you might lose is really nice. So that's what's going on with that channel. We'll listen to the cabs really quickly. So this is a 1x12 open back, which is my favorite actually. Here's the 2x12 Alnico Blue Vox cab combo. More mids, definitely more chimey up top. Actually a little less lows, at least to my ear. And then all the way over to that basket weave cab, which I really liked for crunch tones. For a clean tone, it maybe takes up too much space, but it sure sounds great. Okay, so that's what's going on with the cabs on that channel. Same cabs on the lead channel. Let's listen to the reverb. So quite a bit of range there. You can get it pretty saturated. As far as the level, dwell is essentially, in this case, it's the decay of the reverb. I actually like it really short. All the way to this. So there's like this almost long kind of holler plate happening along with that spring reverb. I may be describing it wrong, but you can hear it. So yeah, really sweet sounding reverb. And speaking of sweet sounding, let's check out the tremolo. Just a really rich sounding tremolo. It's actually one of my favorite sounding tremolos. It's not going to do the big choppy thing, but as far as just that really nice kind of spread out vintage trem, it just sounds really good, especially in stereo. So depth all the way up. Speed all the way up. Yeah, it's really good sounding tremolo. Okay, let's shut all that off and let's go to channel 2. On channel 2, I started, and just because I loved it, with that basket weave cab, the 4x12. Okay, so gain-wise, if you dime the gain, it'll do that kind of amp detonating thing, but you can get pretty darn saturated, and the amp blowing up thing is actually kind of cool. I'll shut the attenuation completely off. Even backed off on the guitar, it still sounds and feels great. So that's what's going on with the gain. Tone, you can go really, really dark. To nice bitey, kind of crunchy upper mids and highs. I like it about right there. The mid bite is great. As you crank it, it obviously will create gain, but it also brings in kind of upper mids. And as I was playing, like dial in for that opening riff, I dialed that quite a bit. To just dial things in, and then I brought it up for solo tones. Just one of my favorites is the way that dials. Attenuation, same deal. If we back it off, we can add the high end back. And remember, that's all storable. So that way we can balance. So say I want reverb and tremolo for my clean. And I want just reverb on for my lead channel. And I need it balanced. So now I can go from, you know, like a solo tone to clean. So it'll remember what you do, which is really cool. What have I missed? I'm sure I missed something. Mid-buy, we got the attenuation. Oh, the cabs, just real quick. 1x12. 2x12. 4x12. I like the 4x12. There's a bunch of cabs that you can go through on this thing, but I like the cabs that are stock. It comes with 15, but the stock loaded ones are the 3 that I mentioned earlier. They sound really good. There's a low pass filter that I'll show you really quick. I like it to the left. All the settings sound cool, but I like it to the left. Once again, in the mix, it just helps. That's on both channels. You can program all of that. There's all kinds of things that you can do from the editing software, MIDI-wise, reverb and trem. You can turn IRs on and off. You know, all of that's in there, and I hate to move so fast, but I know I'm boring you guys to death. But that is the Tone King Imperial Tri-Tube Preamp. If you've got any other questions about it, definitely go to the website and check it out. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next one.